Hi everyone, welcome once again to the Adventures Travel Club television show, and we are leaving this beautiful area of Italy, and we have been to the Isle of Capri, and here we are at Sorrento, and we're going to head now back into Naples and go through the side of Naples a little bit, and we're going to wind up today in Pompeii. And Betty, have you been there before?
Yes, I have.
So you know what the ruins look like.
I know what it does look like, a bunch of ruins, but I would like to spend another day here.
Oh, this is
it was a
beautiful.
beautiful city, and we had great weather.
Yes,
which
we
is
did.
par for the course.
I don't know why, but we seem to be blessed that way because we have good weather most everywhere we go, and it's just.
What do you mean you don't
great.
know why?
No, why?
It's because we're nice and God
I see.
God blesses
Okay.
us.
Well, all right, that's fine. I'll
Is
buy
that a good reason?
That's a good reason, right?
I'm certain that's sort of bragging, though, isn't it? Okay, well, that's all right.
But anyway, it was nice, and as we can see, we're going to head, as we say. We'll see just a little bit of Naples. Naples was so large, I thought it was a smaller place, but huge, big city. I was surprised and spread out. And of course, if you look right across the bay there, you can see Naples, and then on beyond that, you can see Mount Vesuvius itself. And that was a volcano, of course, that 2,000 years ago spewed the ash and also the pumice, which just buried the city of Pompeii. The city of Pompeii was really quite large. I thought it was perhaps a small village, but we'll find out more about that on today's show. And we're going to listen now to our guide, and this guy was really terrific. So let's give a listen.
Imagine that Pompeii was founded very long time ago by an old Italic population called the Osci. This was nearby the 7th century BC. Was named Pompeii, which means five, because five small villages united all together. But later on, when Etruscans, Greek, and finally Romans, they come down here, the Osci, they move up the village in this large hill of prehistoric lava in order to have a better control of the city, in order to have a better defense. Of course, Greeks are very good navigators, are very good artists, architects. Imagine then the alphabet that we use today was coming from the Greek of that period. And then with the combination of Greek knowledge and art, and with Roman power and wealth, Pompeii became one of the richest Roman cities that we have at that time all around Italy. But in reality, what was going on over a long time ago? Have a look down there. This is one of the three volcanoes. Then we have all around Italy. This is so-called the Vesuvio volcano. It's the highest point that we have on the bay, 4,000 feet above the sea level. I said one of the three, that's because we have the Etna in Sicily, and we have the Stromboli volcano on the small island of Stromboli. Then on the 24th of August, 79 AD, everything was happening over here. We have a very violent and strong explosions of the volcano Vesuvius. For Pompeian people, there was no way to escape, no way to get out. There was no way to escape. That's because the lava coming out during the eruptions, they flew down from the very top down to the seaside, to the coastline, to the ocean. And the only road of that time was located on the coastline directions nearby the oceans. It was the only road which they make Pompeii in communication to the new and big city of Naples. Then Pompeii was not covered by lava. That's because you remember the lava flew down to the other side. In Pompeii was raining for 3 days and 3 nights, ash and pumice stones coming out during the eruptions. Imagine then all the city of Pompeii was covered from a minimum of 10 to a maximum of 12 feet layer of ash and pumice stones.
Betty, it's just amazing to me that the lava went on one side, and then you had the ash and the pumice stone, covering everything on the other side. And those people didn't have a chance, did they?
No, and that must have been an awful death. Although probably suffocation and the fumes from the gases
I would
that
imagine
escaped,
that there must have been a lot of that
had
too,
something to do with that.
But at least for history's sake, everything was left intact, and so we're able to appreciate that today. And of course, the excavation work has just been really fantastic. Let's listen again to our guide.
This was the famous temple of Apollo. From the Greek mythology, Apollo was the sun god, was the one which they used to drive the chariot of the sun from morning until night. Down there you can see an excellent copy of the statues of Apollo. The original one was discovered into the same paddy stones, and right now is kept into the National Museum of Naples. Opposite side, the sister of Apollo, Diana. Diana was the moon god. All around it, the temple, you can still see 48 columns, all of them in Ionic style. Imagine that before, on the end of each column, we have an arcade ending into the wall, and for that, Pompeian people, they can stroll all around it, the temple, in a raining day or in a very sunny day with no problem at all. Right in front of the steps leading up into the temple, you can still see the sacrifice altar. That's where Romans, they used to kill animals and they used to offer the blood to Diana or to Apollo. But before coming out from this marvelous temple, I would like to show you a masterpiece. Have a look on the top of these white travertino columns. You can still see a sundial. They're still working at daylight today. This sundial was the symbol of Apollo, and this particular sundial was a donation from a very rich citizen of Pompeii to the temple. You must remember that Pompeii was not covered by lava. The lava was flew down to the other side. In Pompeii was raining for 3 days and 3 nights, ash and pumice stones coming out after the eruptions.
They have done such a wonderful job here of the excavation work. You know, we've been all over the world, and we've seen so many places that have been
restored and
restored. But this is one of the best.
This did not look like this when I was here last.
Oh, really?
Oh, no. Every year there's more things done. There's more money given to do more restoration, and I think this is a particularly good site of restoration, because you can do so much visualizing here.
Yes.
When the way they've put it all together again. I was impressed.
Well, I'd love to go back here again. People have asked us, are you going to go back to Italy again? Are you going to go back to Italy again? Well, we are going to go back to Italy again, but this is not on our next itinerary, but perhaps we maybe ought to put another one together. What do you think, Ben?
I would like to do this whole thing. I fell in love with Venice.
Oh,
I just fell in love with Venice. And I would do this whole trip again with a few exceptions. That's how you learn, well, we won't do that. That wasn't all that great, but let's stay longer here,
Yeah.
So,
and this is one place too, of course, that we spent just part of the day here in Pompeii, and these streets were really something. I saw the stepping stones that they had there, and of course there was a lot of water. He explained to us that would go down these streets. That's why they were so high. I think the sewer probably ran down there too. I'm not sure, but these are shops that we can see here. Long, big streets. I mean, this had to be a really fantastic city.
But when it was raining a lot, streets of Pompeii was really full of waters, and for that Romans they have invented the famous stepping stones, you see, in order to cross easy from one side wall to the others, keeping sandals and foot dry and not wet. Now I would like to make you understand the difference between an entrance of an house to the entrance of a shop. Always when you see a room like that, for sure you'll be attracted by these rooms. Then we are going to see all around it the streets of Pompeii. These are not houses, are shops, working like this. First floor was the shop. Romans, they used to live up into the little second floor. And in order to have more space into the shops, Romans, they have invented a very modern sliding door, like the Japanese one. You can still see the track where the sliding door, they used to move back and forth. This was a shop.
And Betty, the houses too. I mean, these mosaics that we see here leading into this house was really something. Houses were really, I think, must have been quite beautiful. They had a sort of like a cistern, or in the middle they used to catch from the roof the rainwater that would come down. And look, they even know who lived
who
in
lived
these
there.
homes, too.
They were quite functional.
Oh,
They
very
really
much
were
so,
functional.
yeah.
And when you think about this, Marv, how many years ago, was that around almost 2,000 years
Yeah,
ago?
yeah.
And look at how advanced they were. They had a wonderful culture, didn't they?
Oh, evidently.
And we take credit for ourselves for being so advanced. Well, we've done more electronically and things, but I think as far as building, the construction of things, these people had it made right from the beginning,
Oh,
didn't
really?
they?
And the artwork as well too. We'll see some mosaics here after a while, and you just saw some of that were on the floor. It was just an entryway to a house, and I mean, it was just really, really quite beautiful. And they did a lot of beautiful artwork that way. So you had to know that these people did have a wonderful appreciation for art and for beauty,
Well, now, did we ever find out the population, how many were living there in Pompeii at the time?
I don't remember.
I don't
tell you the
either.
truth, I really don't
but
remember.
They had to have a big population because you could see all the domiciles and all the shop buildings and stuff for the people.
And remember, this was also a port city too, so there was a lot of trade that was going on through here, and there were boatloads of people that would come through, the sailors and whatever.
Yet they couldn't depart from water, could they? It came so fast.
No, that's right. Yeah, they said I guess it was blocked so that they weren't
able to.
Yeah, and it was like at 5:30 or something like that in the morning.
And
so, I mean, even they knew that because they were baking bread. I mean, they found some of the carbonized bread in one of the ovens. But look here, this is a ceiling.
Look at that. And
This
how
is a
long
ceiling.
ago?
Isn't that beautiful?
2,000 years.
Yeah, isn't that something? I'll tell you. But this is, I mean, look, this is so well preserved. But we're going to listen to our guide as he explains a little bit more about this particular area.
All around us are called the waiting or dressing room. Once inside here, Romans, they used to sit on the bench. You see the bench all around it. And they used to wait the time to do the 3 different baths. Then Romans, they used to make on the same time. When is the time to start? Romans, they used to take off the clothes. They put the clothes on this niche. And they start with the sauna.
It must have been awfully clean people here, Betty, because the baths were one of the main things in the city.
Yeah,
so.
but that was a social thing.
Well, that's true.
You
It
know,
was, yeah.
so-
But also a very cleanly thing as
Yeah.
well. I mean, this is a very important part of everyday Roman life.
Also, the body of the suffocated persons was covered by ash and by pumice stones. But after a while, all the flesh of the body became in decomposition. And what we have left into the ash was an empty shell of the body with his original skeleton inside. A very smart archaeologist, his name was Giuseppe Fiorelli, he had a very brilliant idea. He used to make full this empty shell with a kind of liquid plaster. He used to wait a week when everything was completely dry, when everything was completely solidified. He used to take away all around it, all the ash and pumice stones. And what we have after so long time are the exact plaster cast of a Roman persons living over here more than 2,000 years ago.
It's so amazing that they were able to do that. Well, now we've come to the red light district.
Yeah, they always had them, didn't they?
Yes, indeed.
From time immemorial.
Sailors spending months and months into the sea, first idea when they dock into a town like Pompeii is to look around for a woman and for a glass of wine. Then is this a little busy building on the left-hand side? They're still busy also today. Right now we are into the red district of Pompeii, red light district. The house is called Lupanare because lupo in Italian language means wolf. That's because when the prostitute was free, they used to come out into the street and they used to howl like a wolf in order to attract sailors from the shopping street of Pompeii. Yeah, exactly like that. 2 different floors. Today we just visit the first floor. That's because the second one up there was in restructuration. Up there before we have a large suite, a kind of VIP room where the woman was more expensive and where the woman they can spend either overnight with a man. Down belonging to the same space, in a while I am going to take you inside. Once inside, have a look all around you. You are going to see 5 little entrances with 5 beds on the end of the rooms. Have a look outside on the top of the entrance. You can still see an original erotic frescoes of 2000 years ago. But why that? Why Romans they used to put erotic frescoes outside of a sex room and not inside? That's because at that time in town was very difficult to talk, was very difficult to communicate, was very difficult to speak, so many visitors speaking so many different languages.
And to see the pictures, you're going to have to go to Pompeii yourself. I decided not to show those on television.
Usually a Roman house are not working like our modern house of today. Never we have discovered a Roman house with a gardens in front or on the back. Always we have discovered gardens if there was one inside the house. In reality, we have two big and large sections, winter sections and summer sections. Then the little corridor, that you can see very clear over here, is ending into a big room, you see. The big room are the atrium of the house. Atrium means big. It was the winter sections. Right and left, you can see bedroom using only in winter time. But you can ask to me why Romans they used to have wait a second. Why Romans they used to have an open roof in connections with a little cistern, you see there? The open roof was first of all a great idea invented by the Romans in order to collect the sunshine, then was working like a skylight. That's because all around it, the houses, no window. Then the open roof, there you have a good example. We cannot see the roof because all the roof collapsed down. The open roof was working like a skylight, but in reality the open roof was a system invented by the Romans in order to collect the raining water. If you see the four sides of the roof, now this is not original but was exactly like that, the four sides of the roof are ending on the four sides of the open roof. And then when was raining a lot, all the water they used to come in by the open roof and they used to come into the house by the open roof. You see the open roof there? But the open roof was in connections with this little pool, you see there? Then all the water coming in by the open roof, they used to move in this little cistern, open cistern, water cistern. From there, by two channels, they used to move underneath in a big water cistern. Like these Romans, they used to collect the water in winter to don't have any problem during summertime. But typical pizzerias that we have all around the world. That's right. The pizza was invented only 200 years ago, but the ovens was invented more than 2,000 years ago. Right now we are in a typical bakery shop of 2,000 years ago. You can see ovens there. Three enormous flour grinder. These flour grinder are working like this. Are made by two pieces of lava stones. One is biconical, another one is conical. Then Romans they used to put a wick on the very top. They used to turn around the top part, and what they collect down below are the flour using to make the fresh bread. Imagine then inside this oven we have discovered 12 rolls of carbonized bread. This makes very clear to us that nobody knew before about the eruptions of Pompeii. Then the bread was almost ready to be served early in the morning. The eruption was starting at 5:30 in the morning. We have the opportunity to see these rolls of bread. Right now are kept into the National Museum of Naples.
Eddie, this was a wine shop here, and there were evidently several of these throughout the city of Pompeii. I guess they were pretty big wine drinkers back then.
Wine, women, and song.
Yeah.
At first when I saw them, I thought they were like the toilets that we saw in Greece, because they had the little rounded places and everything. But to know that they were wine was really interesting.
These were to hold the wine jugs and the wine jars. So there was a lot of wine shops, as he explained to us.
They were a happy group of people that lived there.
I guess so. But here you can see the narrow streets right here. And now, here are some of the beautiful mosaics that are there. And it's so amazing that these have lasted for about 2,000 years. And they, as we say, the Italians have done just a beautiful job of keeping this up. And you can see also on the walls, there's various paintings there. And of course, the growth keeps coming, and you have to you got to take that away. And if you don't, it'll all be overgrown.
And there's nothing covered. I mean, this is exposed to the elements. Well, right. I see it covering up there, but to think that it truly, after all, 2,000 years, you would have thought everything would have eroded by then.
Yeah. Well, they were very good builders, of course, as you can see. This was another wine shop here that we were going past, and I wanted to get a still shot so that you could see that. You see, there's counters right there, actually, and so that's, I guess...
You mean right there in front is the counter where you'd order a glass of Merlot or...
or a good Italian vintage wine.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I got a couple of shots here coming up of Mount Vesuvius itself, so you can see.
In this place, was selling only olive oil. Down there was a big fountain in order to clean the fish. You remember then Romans, they used the frescoes to represent the life. Then of course now is the time before coming out to see few Roman frescoes, original one of 2,000 years ago. Have a look up there, you see the fish, you see the lobsters, you see the bread. Just next, you see a shop selling meat. On the other side is nothing, there was a shop selling fruit. Now, the frescoes on the top are the oldest one, but are not a very good one. They are not the very final way in making frescoes for Romans. Because if you look, the frescoes are flat. I mean, you cannot look in. But if you look properly, these frescoes is not so deep. I mean, it's not flat like the tree up there. I mean, also if it's not a big one, if you look properly, you have the idea to look inside, to look through. This is the very final way in making frescoes. You have a good example also there. You see a representative window, and you have the idea to look through the window. This is so-called the fantastico or three-dimensional style. That's the very final way in making frescoes for Romans. I mean, into the later frescoes, you don't see only one size, but you see three different sizes. You can see a girl, you can see the young Hercules again, you can see a statue on the back, and you can see also a window. That right now are looking like a Renaissance style painting, but are not a Renaissance style. I mean, it's a painting made more than 2,000 years.
Well, Betty, there was so much to see and much more that we just don't have time for on today's television show. But I'll tell you, this is worth the trip to Italy to see Pompeii. And of course, there's so many wonderful things there to see in Italy. But I have to say that I was really looking forward to this, and I certainly was not disappointed. It was a very, very thrilling experience to go through a place that you've heard about, all your life.
Yeah, I think this whole trip was an extraordinary one. Sometimes you come up with a real plum, and you don't know it at the time, but that's the time you have to start reorganizing your thoughts and saying, well, hey, we should really do this again. Let everybody be exposed to this beauty and the wonders. And
I think that's very true. We've got to plan another trip back to Italy and to do this. Here are some of the skeletons, of course, that they did find here of some of the folks, and also we can see the wine jugs, that we were talking about, and there's Vesuvius off. Oh, it was back there off just a little bit to the right. I thought I had a picture of it there because you can see. I mean, it wasn't that far away.
But look at the day that we had too. The clear, beautiful day. These are the things that really amaze me. These carvings. Because they didn't have the tools, that we have today to do this.
Probably we're using the same type of tools, I would imagine, that they used back then to get to get this. But a lot of this marble, he said, also came from Carrara, which is still,
Michelangelo got
yeah.
most of his marble
Right.
from there. Yeah.
And so that must be I want to go there sometime and look at the quarries in Carrara.
Well, I'll
See
make
what we-
inquiries about that and
Okay.
find out if it's possible. Okay.
I think that would be a neat deal. And looking off now to the north again, and you see the mountain range in which the mountains of Vesuvius is. And so we're kind of leaving right now. And again, you can see this was a gigantic place, and you could literally, I think, get lost in Pompeii. It's a good thing we had a guide, because there's a lot of streets to wander around. There's a lot of buildings to go through, and as Betty said, they're still doing a lot of excavation there. So next time we go back, we'll probably even see more. This is Monte Cassino. We're way up on we have left Pompeii now, and I want to get a shot of that.
We were thinking of going there, but the
Yeah.
time just
The
passed
time-
by too fast.
Right, and that place had been bombed out during World War II, and so now we have arrived in Rome, and
Looks a little wet.
yeah, it was a little wet. It had rained a little bit.
Always while we're on the bus.
Yeah, so when we get out, we don't have to worry about it. You know what church that is?
Tell me.
No, I was asking you.
No,
It was
you
right
tell
around
me.
the corner from our hotel.
I like you to sound so smart, I like to give you that
You wanna give me that
opportunity.
credit? Okay,
Yes,
well,
yes.
I'll tell you
I
what,
think I know what it was, though. St. Mary Major?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Isn't you said it was right around. It wasn't?
I don't know.
Oh, because, well, it was right
There were so
around.
many,
It was
I'm
right
not
around our
confused.
hotel.
Yeah, it
That's
was,
why
yeah.
I thought
Right.
it might be St. Mary
Yeah,
Major.
and we're heading now to
Oh.
St. Peter's. This is early in the morning.
Hey,
And
look, that's not St.
that's the-
Peter's
no,
ahead
that's
of
the
us.
Colosseum.
Yeah.
We've got to go by.
I
there
was
first.
thinking, my goodness, Marv, that's not St. Peter's.
No, we had a 7:30 mass at St. Peter's, and so of course we're going by the Forum, and we're going by all these wonderful places on our way across the Tiber River so that we can get
That
into
was
St. Peter's.
early in the
Yeah,
morning.
we had a 7:30 appointment, and that is, let me tell you, that is the best time to go because there's nobody in St. Peter's at that time. You wait for a couple of hours, and there's thousands of people in there. Anyway, that's all the time we have. Betty, you have trips coming up people can call you at?
488-7443.
And please do, because we've got some wonderful trips. And listen, we'll see you next time as we are in Rome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.